Hey, hello, leaders. This is Paul Grau Jr., and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. So, I'm really excited about today because today is season number 11, episode 1. And I'm calling this season in particular, I'm calling it the High Performing Leader. So, this season is going to be all about a high performing leader and what a leader does to be a high performer, but also to get themselves in a position where they could lead a high performing team. Because if you are not prepared to lead a high performing team, guess what? You're never going to get a high performing team. You'll get a good team, maybe even a great team, but you won't get that high performing team that's just rocking and rolling on, all gears. And this is where this season number 11, is going to be focused on how you can get the best out of yourself, reach your full potential as a leader, a team leader specifically, and how you can get that same level of performance from your people. Now, one of the best things, if you've listened to this podcast for any amount of times, one of my favorite things to start, and I start all my clients with this, is a DISC assessment. I use the Maxwell method of DISC because I'm a John Maxwell certified coach and trainer and speaker. And I love the DISC that they use, the assessment, because it really breaks down these 3 different areas, because there's 3 graphs that it measures. And the one graph is your natural self. Another graph is the mask. It tells you what mask that you put on when you're in public. And then the third graph tells you basically how you see yourself. Well, if all these graphs, all 3 of these match up very closely, that's an indicator that you are very comfortable in your job and your life, and you are just doing what you're made to do. All right. You're using your God-given talent, your God-given gifts, your strengths. You're leading the way you're made to lead. You're communicating the way you can communicate. You're able to communicate with your team and others around you in their language because you understand people. Now, unfortunately, most people do not have similar graphs all the way across. And when I say most, I don't know, that's probably a little harsh, but I've been doing DISC for over 10 years as a certified DISC trainer and consultant. And I've been familiar with the DISC for probably 25 years because I took it every 3 to 4 years in the Air Force. I'd take another assessment. And they all kind of turned out the same for me in the Air Force, and we would get the results, but we never really got the tools on what we can do with those results. Well, that's what I help my clients with. And I always start with the DISC assessment, and I give them a personalized video walking them through their 30 pages, all right, their report of 30 pages. Now, I don't go through every page, but I key on about a dozen pages where I really walk them through where they could understand exactly where they fall on the DISC and why the different graphs say different things. And it's amazing because when people watch these videos, their reactions, it's always fun to see when I see them in person or see them on the first Zoom call, because they always respond to the video similar to something like this. They'll be like, Paul, how did you know all that about me? I swear you have cameras in my office and at my house watching me because you nailed it. And it's funny because I don't have cameras watching people, but I can read these graphs very effectively. And when you can read the graphs and you kind of tell the person what's going on in each of these areas, it's remarkable how accurate it is. So that's how I use the DISC. And then once we know what their mask is that they put on in public or at work predominantly, we know we can figure out why they're putting on that mask. We can figure out what their natural gifting is and what's their default behavioral style. And then we kind of compare that to how they see themselves. And after about a year or so, it's always cool to see them take that assessment again, because then the graphs are, if they're doing what we're coaching them through and what they're training them through, they're seeing that they're masking their strengths and their leadership abilities and their work capabilities. And that is preventing them from reaching their full potential. Because if you're masking your strength, you're never going to reach your full potential. So that's a preview of kind of what we're going to deal with this season, in season number 11. But I'm going to be focused primarily on the high-performing leader, okay? And that is a high-performing leader that is going to be able to lead high-performing teams. And the thing I'm going to introduce in this season is I am going to bring people on, and I'm going to be interviewing a lot more people. In the past, it's been very seldom that I've interviewed people. This season, I'm going to change that. I'll have a lot of solo shows, episodes like this one, where it's just me, but there's going to be a lot more episodes where I'm going to be interviewing people. We're going to be talking about high-performing leaders, high-performing teams, and also this is going to go very well with our other podcast, which I don't have any episodes on there yet. I have 2 introductory episodes, but that's called the High-Performing Team podcast. And it's going to go really well because that's going to focus on the high-performing team. This one's going to focus on the high-performing leader and their qualities. The other one's going to be focused on the high-performing team. So I'm going to get that up and going and rolling probably in a few weeks. And I'm going to try to get this podcast and that podcast to kind of mesh together, where if you're a high-performing team member, you can listen to the other one. If you're a high-performing leader, you can listen to this one. And if you have aspirations to be a high-performing team leader, by all means, listen to both of them, because you're going to get tips and tricks from both. I'm going to try to keep them all under 10 minutes, even with interviewing people. But with that said, there will be some longer shows. Like if I interview somebody and it goes 15, 20 minutes, I'll probably keep it in one episode. If I go longer than that, I may break it up into a couple of episodes. But I'm going to try not to go over 15 minutes. But I do see that a lot of people are really enjoying longer podcasts. So I may actually dabble around with the longer podcast every now and then. There's not going to be any fancy thrills and frills at the beginning with music and all this other intro. I've never had that, and I'm never going to. I am going to try to get right to the point, keep it simple, short, and stories that you can hopefully relate to. Hey, that's it for today. And come on back tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to be talking about a very interesting, high-performing leader. And what I realized in my career, and I would consider myself a high-performing leader now, or capable of being a high-performing leader. But there was times in my career that there is no way that I was, even though my team was high-performing. And I'm going to explain that tomorrow. So that's it for today. Come on back tomorrow. And until then, as always, run to your challenges. We'll see you.